Now we end the story of the Dragon Balls, with the hope that the Earth will never again see the kind of darkness that brought it close to extinction so many times. But if that day comes, there is one who will step out of the shadows and fight in the name of all that is good and true. Tell me the dead guys!
Has gone from slander to hate to straight up dismemberment of the entire series, and I can't say that I agree with this. GT does have its flaws, but so does everything else in Dragon Ball, all the way back to the beginning. Now I decided when I watched Dragon Ball GT, I would take notes and cover every little piece of information to leave nothing out of the most thorough review that I will be putting up on my channel. Now let me be honest with you guys, Dragon Ball GT was the first thing that ever got me introduced to the series. When I was younger, I would watch shows such as Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dexter's Laboratory. One day my dad came home with the Dragon Ball GT DVDs, and that changed everything for me. I had never seen a show where a kid could power up and change his hair from black to blonde, his eyes from brown to blue, and he would have this electricity and aura surrounding him. I'd never seen a show where characters would power up and destroy the very city with just a flick of a finger. And I had never seen a show that had captured me quite like this. The characters, the aura, the atmosphere, the universe, all of this was just grand and new to me. Going into Dragon Ball GT, I thought this was something that I'd never seen before. And now that it's been over 20 plus years since I've seen the series, revisiting it made me think back to all those times that I truly enjoyed it as a child. Now this has nothing to do with nostalgia or rose-tinted glasses as many people would feel. I give everything on my channel a fair chance, and GT I felt deserved that. So let's go into the very first thing. Dragon Ball GT takes a huge step forward when it comes to its characters. If you notice the story of Dragon Ball, there's always been the story of two. In Dragon Ball, the entire story was focused around Goku and Bulma, and sometimes Goku and Krillin. Then we move into Dragon Ball Z. The main point of the entire first arc revolves around Goku and Gohan. Then we go into the Frieza saga. Again, it's about Goku and Gohan. And then the Cell Saga reaches the peak when Gohan is supposed to take over the mantle of hero of the universe, and Goku steps down because he's dead. The only time that the series moved away from the idea of two people leading it was in the Buu Saga, when Goku was absent for the majority of it, and Gohan, the successor to the mantle, was present. However, Gohan does end up taking a step back as he loses to Majin Buu, and at the end of the day, Goku comes forward and saves the world. Now, we go into Dragon Ball GT, where the story is led by a trio this time, Goku, Trunks, and Pan. Trunks' arc in the entire story of GT is about somebody who spent his time living in peace. Trunks now is the head of Capsule Corporation as he runs the office day to day, and he has no time ever to socialize or even fight anymore. When we first see Trunks in Dragon Ball GT, he tries to hurry up and get out of the office just so he can enjoy his life more often. Then we go on to the character of Pan. Pan's character arc is established very early on to us. Pan wants to not be seen as a child anymore, and that's why she takes up the idea of saving the city on a day-to-day basis. Even though she's a child, Pan leaps into danger and protects the people of her city. Being the granddaughter of Hercule and the granddaughter of Goku, she has some pretty big shoes to fill, considering the fact that she is also the daughter of someone who was the strongest character in the series at one point, Gohan. And she is also the daughter of the hero of the city, Videl. We saw in Dragon Ball Z that Pan loved to fight. She loved to prove herself, and that's exactly what she's trying to do in Dragon Ball GT. Then we come to the very final character that we're going to follow through the series, the character of Goku. His story is no longer about being the strongest on the planet or even the strongest in the universe. Goku's story arc is about coming to terms with who he truly is as a character. When he's wished to being a kid again, what does Goku say?
Oh, well, I guess I'll just have to stay like this then. I'll grow up eventually.
It doesn't bother him. He's fine with who he is. But it's only once the Earth is put in danger, Goku is willing to change that. So these are the character arcs that are laid out for us from the very start of the series. We're going to come back at the end and see just how well they complete these arcs. One of the things that always bothered me was how this was called the Goku Show. Goku gets all the victories, nobody else wins. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually keep a counter of how many victories Goku gets by himself, as well as how many victories he gets involving the help of others.
Hey buddy, you need a ride? I was just on my way to the big doofus convention.
I'm so tired of how stupid some people can be in this community, man. So moving forward, let's go right into the very first thing, the story of Dragon Ball GT.
Now then, let's get serious. Blast off!
The story this time around starts with a brand new take on the Dragon Balls. Originally, Kami and Piccolo were one being when they created this set of Dragon Balls. These are the Black Star Dragon Balls. However, they were stored away because they had negative energy that could destroy the Earth if used. I like the concept of this. This shows Kami's growth as a character, and this shows that he did at one point make Dragon Balls prior to the ones that we have. The Pilaf gang has been looking for these Dragon Balls to make their wish to control the entire world. What I don't like is when Goku and Oob leave the lookout after they're fighting, Dende says,
Popo, get the first aid kit!
as if Dende does not have the powers to heal people. Moving on, Pilaf accidentally wishes Goku to be a kid again, and this sets the trio on the adventure to get back the Dragon Balls before the Earth blows up. Bulma builds a spaceship and they take off. Once the trio is in space, they end up crash landing on a different planet called Emeka, where they have a corrupt leader that charges everyone for simple things such as showering.
You've got to be kidding me! There are money meters everywhere! This is insane! We're being charged for everything, even for watching TV!
This is how he stays rich. Pan blames Goku for them being on this planet, and Goku actually accepts fault for this. Goku is willing to admit when he did something wrong, and Goku is taking blame for something that he feels he put the entire team in jeopardy of. Danger. Here they find a robot who absorbs the Dragon Radar named Giru, who becomes Pan's best friend throughout the series. The leader of this planet is named Don Keith. Now his servants go out and steal the trio's ship once they're not around. The crew try to get it back and free the planet of his dictatorship.
Thanks a lot, Grandpa. You could have told us, you know. What a jerk.
But I tried. You weren't listening.
In the process, they fight Don Keith's hired assassin, Legic. Now, Legic is a character that I noted was hit before hit. He has that cool assassin look, and he's just hired help. Another thing I like about the series of GT is just how serious Goku gets when there's an imminent threat. Once Legic steps on the battlefield, Goku tells Trunks to stand aside. He can handle it from here. This also adds on Goku's growth because it shows Goku's been around the block a few times. Goku knows when to take things seriously. He's not going to play around with his opponents anymore. Super Saiyan Goku beats down Legic and they end up freeing the planet. Goku ends up befriending Legic in their battle, Legic quoting that the next time that he sees Goku, he'll be the victor. Once they get that done, then they move off to find the very first Dragon Ball. On the next planet, they encounter giant bugs and Pan wears wings and an antenna that lead giant bees to think that she is their queen. Anyway, the Dragon Balls bounced around until it ends up in the mouth of a giant who has a cavity, and the Dragon Ball actually falls in the cavity. Goku then jumps in his mouth and punches the tooth out, and he gets the Dragon Ball. And guess what? It's the 4-star Dragon Ball. What luck, Goku's favorite. They leave in pursuit of the next Dragon Ball. This one is pretty horrible, so let's try to get through this very quickly. A creature named Zunama comes to take women from a village and terrorizes the people just like Oolong and OG Dragon Ball. Trunks disguises himself as a woman just like Goku did to go with the creature instead. They find out he can't cause quakes, he can only sense them, and what's causing the quakes is actually a volcano that's about to erupt. Goku destroys the volcano, Zunama agrees not to terrorize the village anymore, they get the Dragon Ball. Okay, moved on pretty quickly through that, right? Good, good. Because I hated that. And it only gets worse from here. So once they get the Dragon Ball, the Power Brothers show up, they take the 6-star Dragon Ball, and then they leave. Goku, Trunks, and Pan are in pursuit of them. The Power Bros steal the Dragon Ball and lead the trio to another planet where they go into a cave. They steal the Dragon Ball to revive Lord Lude, an ancient robot they worship. The crew fights these snake-like creatures in the cave and they outsmart them. Afterwards, the Power Brothers come back for the second Dragon Ball and do a dance move to beat the trio down. The trio escapes the dance move and beats down the pros. Pan heads to the planet where Lude is without Goku and Trunks by accident and gets turned into a doll. Goku fights the whip monster and Trunks kills it. Lou gets resurrected, Pan and Goku defeat him together with some good teamwork, they move on to the next planet. Oh my god, that was horrible. Episodes 6 through 15, I promise you guys, are the worst things in GT so far. But we should take some damage on the way down. While Goku and Trunks are trying to repair it, Pan is trying to find different ways to help, and they kind of shun her off to the side and tell her to just go and play. And once they keep treating her like a child, that's when Pan decides to run off, having all these centipede monster and saving Pan, and in doing so he gets the Dragon Ball. The two of them embrace, she thanks Giru for looking out for her. Then once that arc is completed, they move on to the next planet where they encounter General Rildo. Overall, when it comes to Pan's arc in this episode, and from what we know so far, this episode really shows the growth that they had in play for Pan. This shows that Pan is growing as a person, and she really does not want to be seen as just a child. She can do so much more than just go and play. So I like where they were headed with this. But it's just after this, they kind of regress her entire arc with Giru, and she continues to be harsh on him. But let's just keep going for now. Oh, looks like we're moving on to the Rildo arc. Now this is where it starts to get real juicy. And this one is what really got me invested in the series once again. I will be honest with you guys, episodes 6 through 15 kind of shifted me away, but that episode where it was dedicated toward Pan was more about great storytelling rather than anything else. And that's where GT shines to me, is when it tells specific character arcs in certain episodes or throughout the series. When they shift away from that, it kind of derails the whole storyline. But let's get into the Rildo arc. So the trio is traveling through space and they see Giru's home planet. Building on their relationship from the last episode, Pan suggests stopping there so Giru can see his home once again. This is where Rildo sends out his deadly Sigma Force. Giru ends up betraying Goku, Trunks, and Pan, and in doing this, Trunks and Goku get captured. When I first saw this, I thought to myself, wow, they're really doing this? But let's see where they take it. Pan infiltrates the facility to save both Goku and Trunks, and she's completely pissed off with Giru after he betrays them. Goku fights the Sigma Force and he stops them for a moment. The fight with them does drag on, but Goku puts an end to it. Now this is the very episode where Rildo shows up to the ship to attack Trunks and Pan. See, during Pan's infiltration, she was able to help Goku and Trunks escape, but once Trunks goes back to the ship, Rildo shows up to attack him. He tries to blast Pan and Trunks jumps in the way, and he gets hit with a blast that turns him exactly into Han Solo. Once Trunks gets hit with this, he gets sent right back to the facility. So much for getting out of that one, huh? Goku versus Rildo begins, and Pan tries to save Trunks from being experimented on. The whole plan of zapping Trunks or Pan, who it was intended for, was once they send them back to the facility, then Dr. Miyu will start to turn them into robots, which is interesting lore when you think about it, because Rildo, that's not his original form. He underwent that procedure as well. It's kind of like the whole Ginyu thing where we don't know if that's Ginyu's real body. Again, with Rildo, it's like Rildo went through the transformation, but what did he really look like before, you know? So the Sigma Force show up and Goku finally starts to get serious. Goku powers up to Super Saiyan, and this power is far too much for Rildo. So what does Rildo do? He absorbs the Sigma Force, and he powers up himself, and their battle continues. As the fight goes on, Rildo continues to get his ass whooped. So you know what he does? He powers up again, becoming Meta Rildo. And Goku understands that Rildo controls the metal on the entire planet. So Rildo's already at home advantage here, and Goku sees the disadvantages that he has, but it's all part of the plan. Pan shows up a little bit later with the Dragon Ball, and Rildo hits her with that same blast, turning her into metal as well. Once Pan gets turned into this, Goku follows soon after. And once Rildo gets both of their metal statues, he takes them right back to Dr. Miyu. Dr. Miyu begins the process on them all, but it was all part of a ruse. Giru saves the trio as a trick to get close to Dr. Miyu. And this was all part of Trunks' master plan. You see, when Trunks originally got turned into this metal statue, he wasn't really the statue, it was a fake that Giru created, and this was also Trunks to get close to Dr. Miyu's secret creation, Baby. Dr. Miyu wants to use Baby to help him gain control of the entire galaxy. Trunks reveals the plan to the other two as he's talking about it once they see Baby in his little pod, I guess you can say. And as usual, Goku is amazed and wants to fight Baby. I like how they kept that true to his character. During this whole time that they thought Trunks was a statue, He was actually shutting down all the power that was making Baby as strong as he was. But once they go to destroy Baby, Dr. Miyu says the word Saiyan, and this wakes Baby up. See, the problem here is that everybody in this room thinks that Baby is just a metal creation when they don't know Baby is a true life form. He's not just some robotic creation you can shut off like that. But they get into his story a little bit later. Once Baby wakes up, he goes to fight the trio, and they make quick work of him. Dr. Miyu escapes, but really it's Baby who escaped using Dr. Miyu's body as a vessel. Now Baby is ready to set on his path of destruction, but he's in disguise. It's almost like Transformers, right? Baby, life form in disguise. So now the trio's almost done collecting the Dragon Balls. They're about to leave planet M2, and Rildo is trying to pull them in so they don't escape. But you know what happens? The trio ends up blasting Meta Rildo, killing him. Again, I thought this was called the Goku show. So far, Goku has only one solo victory. But let's keep going. The team leave for the next Dragon Ball, and once they get it, they find a boy who is sick, and they bring him to a hospital on another planet to make sure he gets treated. What's going on with this boy is really that Baby's possessing him, and he goes around possessing the bodies of everybody in that hospital. Oh, and by the way, this happens with Pan.
Hey, what are you doing?
I will say this though, Baby has the best laugh I've seen since the Joker. Once Baby possesses enough people, then he possesses Trunks for a little while, but Trunks is too strong-willed and forces him out of his body. Once this happens, Baby escapes. The trio doesn't know this, but he's headed toward Earth. They get the next Dragon Ball while Baby is on Earth possessing people. He possesses so many people to the point where he gets to fight Goten. Goten tries to stop him, but ultimately in the end, Goten gets possessed as well. Goten then heads back home to where he's looking for a fight with Gohan. He then gets Gohan one-on-one by himself. And Gohan notices that Goten is acting weird and he knows something's fishy going on here. But in the end, Gohan gets possessed as well. Once Gohan gets possessed, Piccolo shows up and Baby takes him out, allegedly killing him with a Kamehameha, but we all know Piccolo ain't really dead, is he? While all this is happening, the trio gets the next Dragon Ball, the 3-star ball. The next thing Baby does is really surprising. Baby goes after Vegeta when he's out shopping with Bra. Now the last thing you want to do is interrupt family time. It's really, really low. So Gohan begins to fight Vegeta, Gohan possessed by Baby. Not long after this, Goten shows up as well, and the two of them gang up on Vegeta, giving him a little bit of trouble, but obviously Vegeta's holding back. But that's not the point. The point is they cut Vegeta's face, and Baby starts to infect Vegeta, and once he does this, he then explains his whole backstory and why he does what he does. Baby is from a race of people called the Tuffles, and the Tuffles were once an advanced, peaceful race before the planet was destroyed by King Vegeta. Now when I say destroyed, I don't mean blown up, no. The Saiyans went to the planet, exhausted all the resources that the Tuffles had, and in doing that, they ended up destroying the Tuffles as well when they turned into their ape forms, and this was all caused by King Vegeta himself. To put the final nail in the coffin of disrespect, he renamed Planet Tuffle Planet Vegeta. So for the Tuffles' last-ditch effort, they created a parasite, and they combined their genes with the parasite in order to survive. They did not want to go extinct, so once this happened, they all scattered throughout the far reaches of space, waiting for their moment to get back at the Saiyans. I like this backstory. You know what I love about GT is this. They take little things from Dragon Ball or little filler episodes from Dragon Ball Z and they expand it into this great story of characters. This one is by far the strongest, and Baby has a strong support fan base. People think that Baby is the best villain in Dragon Ball history. I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet. I have to do a little bit of thinking, but so far, Baby's really up there for me. This is great storytelling for him. While Baby's doing all this, the trio finally get the last Dragon Ball, the 2-star ball, and they head back home, mission accomplished, thinking everything is all great. But little do they know, Baby's waiting for them on Earth. So the trio finally gets back to Earth with all the Black Star Dragon Balls, and they give them to Dende and Mr. Popo. Now this is when the trio splits up and they all go their separate ways, but they don't even notice that Baby is controlling everybody on Earth, including Dende and Mr. Popo.
That's rough, buddy.
So once the trio splits up and they all go their separate ways, Trunks goes back home and he gets ambushed by Baby and Vegeta's body. Giru senses it, but it's a little too late for Trunks, and Trunks joins Baby's army. Now Goku and Pan, on the other hand, they get ambushed by Baby when Baby's in control of Goten and Gohan, and Goku blames himself for this. And again, this is good character writing for Goku. In GT, his writing has gotten so much better. Then this is when Baby versus Goku truly begins, and I want you guys to pay close attention to the power gap here, because in GT, Vegeta is clearly leaps and bounds ahead of Goku, and it only shows more and more throughout the fight. Goku has to go Super Saiyan 3 to fight Baby, and Baby's only in Super Saiyan 1 form of Vegeta. Now granted, some of you are probably saying, well, Baby amplifies his power, but that is not the case because Baby himself is extraordinarily weak. Remember, Goku in his base form along with Pan and Trunks, again, base form, were able to beat him with like 3 Ki Blasts. That's nothing. So this is Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta beating Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Think about that for a second. As the fight continues, Goku says that he can't hold this form anymore because his body is not developed. He continues to get beat down by Baby. Baby literally does the God ritual. Again, this is something that Dragon Ball Super borrowed from GT. Baby powers up. Now check this out. He powers up again, and then he does the Revenge Death Ball, and it seems as though he has blown Goku away. This is how you do a great villain, and Baby is on pace to be the best one that I've seen so far. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. What's coming up next is... wow, I'm really about to say this. What's coming up next might be the worst episodes in all of GT, but there are some minuscule things that were important. So, let's get into it. Goku ends up getting saved by the Supreme Kai during Baby's little revenge death ball, but in the process of saving him, he accidentally sends Goku to another area, and this is because of the explosion from the death ball. Where he sends Goku is the problem. See, because he sends Goku to this stupid realm where it involves a game, and you know what? We're not gonna get into it. I'll just tell you the important parts. He meets these 2 shapeshifters. They're gonna come into play later on down the story. That's all you need to know, because this is horrible. I'm not doing it again. Anyways, back on Earth, Baby just revived his planet Tuffle by using the Black Star Dragon Balls. Now, why is this a problem? He decided to do it on planet Earth, you know? The same planet that was just at risk of blowing up, and now he put it in risk of blowing up to bring back his home planet. So what Baby decides to do is evacuate all the Earthlings on the planet Tuffle while Earth is getting ready to explode in a year. I cannot believe that they're really going through with this. And the thing about Dragon Ball is it lost that sense of loss within the series. But they're committing to this. They're committing to blowing up Earth. This is not the first time. This is the second time they brought it up. And this time it looks like they're serious because Goku's off on the other world now. Goku ends up saving those 2 shapeshifters. Goku ends up on the Supreme Kai homeworld this time. And they say to him that they're trying to bring out his tail so he can acquire the power of Super Saiyan 4. After they tell him this, all the Earthlings have been transferred to planet Tuffle. And guess who shows up to fight Baby? Oob is back. Now when Oob comes back, Oob really goes all out against Baby because he's trying to avenge Goku for losing that fight. Oob steps up to the plate and he gives Baby a good little challenge. Oob is giving him a run for his money, but you know what? Baby gets serious and puts him down 1, 2, 3 with the final flash. As soon as Oob goes down, Pan tries to jump in and help him. But, you know, there's only so much Pan could really do against this dude who was like beyond Super Saiyan 2, 3 level at this point. So Pan smacked the out of there. When Oob goes down, it looks as though he's about to die, but the crazy thing happens. Boo comes to Oob in his last moments and he tells Oob about their origin and tells him that they used to be one. And what do? They come together and they form Majub. And he's ready to fight Baby this time, for real. So Majub is fighting Baby off, and he's doing a pretty good job. And while this is happening, Goku finally gets his tail pulled out, but at this time, Oob does get turned into chocolate and eaten by Baby. Goku shows up right at the time where Baby's getting his last bit of chews in, and he immediately goes Super Saiyan 3, and they begin the fight again. Goku gets mollywopped. I mean, it's not even close. He thought that that tail was going to give him the power beyond Super Saiyan 3 to continue to fight Baby. But no, bro. He got clapped. bad. And once Goku is down and out, that's when he looks at the Earth and he finally begins to transform. Now I gotta stop it right here because this makes no sense to me. Goku uses the Earth in the moon's place to transform? What? How does that, like, are they trying to say that the moon and the Earth give off the same energy and that's why he can transform? It's not properly explained and I don't really understand that. So if one of you could explain that to me, I'd love to hear it, but that makes no sense at all. One of the things I noted here was how poetic is it that Baby is back on his home planet and the first sign of trouble that he encounters is the same thing that wiped out all his people. Just saying, I thought that was really poetic and creative. The Baby saga is full of that stuff. While Goku's going on this rampage in his ape form, Pan tries to talk him down and you guys know what's coming next. Goku finally transforms to that form of Super Saiyan 4. Now while this is happening, Baby's trying to figure out how he can get to that same power as well because he has Vegeta's body, so Vegeta should be able to do it as well. So now that Goku's in Super Saiyan 4, him and Baby begin to fight, and let me say, Baby stands no chance. Goku's sitting there taking punches and kicks and let Baby beat on him, but because Goku's just trying to test his power, and over time Baby gets frustrated with this. It comes to the point where Baby's about to be annihilated by Goku's Kamehameha, and right then and there, Bulma turns him into a great ape. Now let me again say how poetic this is. The very thing that wiped out his planet and all his people is the same thing that he needs to turn to save his own life. I know they did this in Dragon Ball Super, but GT, they just flat out did it better. I'm sorry. Baby Vegeta is better than Goku Black. Just saying. Now, the one thing that I had a problem with here, Baby didn't have a tail, but he still transformed. And the other Kai says without the tail, he was still able to complete the metamorphosis. But my problem is this. How? They don't even explain this. Like, that's a big flaw here. He can't just turn into a great ape just because of the blood waves. That's not how that works. Because if that's the case, then Goku should have done that back in Dragon Ball Z when Vegeta first showed him the freaking energy ball. That makes no sense. And another thing that irritates me about this, throughout the whole freaking time that Goku's in great ape form, they keep calling him a monkey.
He is that big gorilla from over there.
That big gorilla didn't eat him, did it?
Goku has the ability to turn into one of these beastly gorillas. Then, by all means, I should have the same power at my disposal.
What is going on here? Even the freaking narrator says it too.
As the gorilla rages on.
And I get when Frieza does it, it's because Frieza's insulting them and he's calling them monkey. Frieza just does it because he's just, like I said, insulting them. But even Pan says this. Why? This drove me crazy because this went on for like 5-6 episodes. They're just calling them monkeys over and gorillas, and I'm like, bro, it's a great ape. Why are you calling it a gorilla? Gorillas don't have tails. Oh my god, when did this become like a freaking zoology class? I swear. So while Goku and Baby are fighting, Goku is constantly holding back, and it's because he does not want to destroy Vegeta. He knows that his friend is still in there and he can get him out. So while Goku's holding back all this time, of course Baby's taking advantage and constantly doing damage, beating him down over time. When this happens, Kibito ends up going to Earth, getting the sacred water, and this is what he will use to cure everybody who's infected with Baby. He takes the water, he goes to the planet Tuffle, he cures all the people there first, then he cures the hero team, and by the time everybody's cured, Goku's already so fatigued from taking a constant beatdown from Baby. So Baby goes to finish everybody off with a Gallic gun, and Oob, to everyone's surprise, wakes up inside Baby and starts powering up, and it drives Baby crazy. He can't hold him steady, and it turns out Oob got swallowed on purpose just so he could distract Baby long enough. The team then powers Goku back up to full power Super Saiyan 4, and it's not looking good for Baby from here. Once they keep fighting, Baby ends up throwing the revenge death ball at Goku. Goku takes it full force, but what keeps it from destroying him is Goku admits his love for his family and friends, and this helps him repel the revenge death ball. He's fighting for more than himself, he's fighting for others. He then blasts Baby with a Kamehameha that knocks him down. Then the next thing for him to do is blast off Baby's tail, which brings him right back to his regular form. Baby then tries to run off and leave planet Tuffle, but once he escapes in that ship, Goku only times his Kamehameha perfectly to blast Baby right into the sun. That is it for him. But before we go on to the next part, I want to highlight something here. During the time when Goku was extremely weak, Pan jumps in front of Baby when he's about to kill Goku in order to save Goku. Now, this is not something that a child would do. Remember, Pan's whole arc is about she wants to prove that she's not just a kid and she's more than that. That took a lot of heart and guts to do. Albeit she did get whacked for doing it, but it just showed how brave Pan was, willing to put her life on the line to save her grandfather. So now that they got Baby dealt with, the next thing is that the Dragon Balls, since they used them on Earth is about to blow up. That fight with Baby lasted almost a whole year. So now Earth is cracking, there's thunderstorms, and guess who comes up with the idea of saving Earth? Vegeta. The very Saiyan that came there to destroy it ends up saving it in the end.
We migrate to planet Tufo.
The writing for these characters, I mean, you can't make this up, this is great. So what ultimately happens is they end up saving everybody on Earth. Once Goku teleports off, he accidentally leaves behind Piccolo. He tries to go back and get him, but again, his body's too weak. He can't use all these moves. So Piccolo ends up staying on Earth, dying to make sure that nobody else was left on the planet that needed to be saved. Again, Piccolo, the same being that wanted to conquer planet Earth, ended up saving all of its inhabitants and dying with the planet. I mean, come on now. You can't tell me this is bad writing. This is incredible stuff that they've got going on here. Though I can't lie, his speech toward Gohan would have hit harder if it didn't show Gohan possessed by Baby attacking him. After all this happens, the Namekians on New Namek wish for planet Earth to be restored. Once that's done, everybody leaves planet Tufo and heads back to Earth. And right when things seem peaceful and enjoyable for the crew, there's a big hole in the sky, and this is because Hell and Earth are merging together. And this is where 17 comes into play. One of the things that made no sense about this arc in particular is the two 17s are linked. See, Dr. Gero and Dr. Miyu meet in Hell and they create a new android 17, and he's somehow linked to the 17 that's on Earth. What's weird is they say that they did this because he's the perfect android. But when I'm watching this, I'm saying to myself, why would you make 17 when you already have Cell down there? You could just make another Cell, and Cell is really the perfect android. Why go for 17? I guess because there's one already on Earth, so their plan is halfway full if you think about it, but it's never really explained. So Trunks is on his way to meet up with the gang, but he's ambushed by 17, who is overwhelmed by the evil power of the 17 in Hell, so it turns good 17 evil. It really doesn't make any sense, but okay. And one thing to note here, Trunks says he's in a hurry to get where he needs to go, but he's driving. If he's in such a hurry, why not just fly there? And don't say, oh, it's because he doesn't want to mess up his clothes. He's literally wearing his regular street clothes. So after 17 beats down on Trunks, he tells Trunks that everybody that the Saiyans have killed will come back to Earth. We see a lot of villains from the old series come back. But one thing I noticed here was if they said all the villains that the Saiyans killed will come back, why didn't Baby come back? I guess it's because if they brought Baby back, he would be like a little too powerful depending on who he would absorb, so they left him out. But just curious, you know. He said all of them. Gotta go it all. He also says to tell Goku to come to Hell if he wants to finish this. Goku ends up going down there. They trick Goku into getting him stuck down there because once Gero, Miyu, and 17 leave, the portal closes and Goku's stuck there. But one thing I thought was weird was, can't Goku just instant transmission out of there? Not like he's really stuck. I mean, he can go to a whole nother reality like heaven and teleport to Earth, so why can't he do the same in Hell? When some of the villains come back, I noticed a few things here. Trunks blasts Yakon, and 2, they both blast 19 when 19 has the little hand absorbers. That shouldn't have worked on him either. Great continuity, guys. And why the hell are there so many Cybermen when originally there was only 6? Look at this. Once he gets down there, he sees Cell and Frieza, and boy, what the hell did they do to those designs? They look like shit. I mean, look at these guys. They look awful. So we pick back up with the Good 17, and I'm going to tell you exactly why he's called Good 17. 17 goes to try and recruit Android 18, but when he does this, Krillin steps up and says, yo, like, you killed Gero before, like, why are you working for him now? And then 17, like, snaps out of it. He's like, I killed Gero? And it's because our 17 is under the mind control of the 17 that's from Hell. Once the 17 from Hell regains control of him again, he then blasts Krillin and kills him. It happened so fast I didn't see it coming. Krillin's dead. Now our good 17 leaves to go meet up with the other 17, and this is when they merge and become Super 17. And when I tell you he literally beats down everybody, I mean everybody's catching these hands, boy. They stand no chance against this dude. Goku's still stuck in hell. He ends up outsmarting both Cell and Frieza and beating them, but he's still trapped. Piccolo is now in heaven and he gets down to hell by destroying things in heaven just so he can get down there to help free Goku. Once he gets down there, him and Dende shoot their beams at the same time to open back up that hole, and Goku then leaves. What I don't like about this though, I don't really feel like Piccolo should stay down there. I mean, he did it for a good cause, but to leave Piccolo in hell, it just didn't sit right with me. Before Goku can get to the battlefield, Dr. Miyu has 17 turn on Dr. Gero and blast him to bits. Once Goku arrives, the fight between him and 17 begins. And 17 absorbs all of Goku's attacks, and it looks like nothing is really working on him. Goku even goes as far to go to Super Saiyan 4, and it does not have any effect on 17. But the weird thing about when 17 blasted Gero, how come Gero just didn't absorb it? It's not like it's because 17 is so much more powerful, but because when we saw in the Android saga, Goku was far above Android 19, and Android 19 was still able to absorb his attacks. And the only reason that Android 19 didn't absorb Vegeta's Big Bang attack was because Vegeta ripped his hands off. So Goku in his strongest form cannot deal with Super 17. It's too much for him, and Goku in Super Saiyan 4 seems to be down and out. But he goes for one last ditch effort, a kamikaze, and this shows just how desperate Goku is. For Goku to try and blow himself up to kill his opponent, yeah, that's next level. 17 survives this by putting up a shield to protect himself, kind of like what he did against Jiren in the Tournament of Power, where he attempted a suicide bomb and then he puts up a shield. It's crazy how much stuff they borrow from GT. So the shield also saves Goku, but Goku is way too weak now from that last attempt and he's back to regular form. 18 shows up and she talks to 17 right before she starts blasting him. Right when 18 is about to attack 17, he decides to turn on Dr. Miyu and kills him. Wow, who didn't see that coming? So 18 starts to blast 17 and Goku notices that 17 is not moving. He's holding in the same position because he has to stay that way in order to block the attacks. He can't move. Once this happens, Goku gets up, charges a Dragon Fist, and flies right through 17. Then he finishes it off with a Kamehameha. It was cool to see the Dragon Fist, but I did not need to see that Kamehameha 3 times though. And 18 takes note of what happens here. It turns out what really happened was the 17 that is the good one weakened Super 17 in order for them to finish him off. So it took the combination of 17 himself, Android 18, and Goku in order to beat Super 17. I remember I got into an argument with somebody once on the Reddit fanbase saying how Goku doesn't get all these victories, and he tried to tell me that Goku beat Super 17 by himself, when in the show they make it quite clear it took the help of 3 people to defeat Super 17. Again, some of the people in this fan base are the biggest idiots I've ever come across. When the show tells you that it took 3 people and Goku's Super Saiyan 4 was not enough, I'm gonna go with the show versus your idiotic opinion. So once that comes to an end, they decide to gather the Dragon Balls. But what I noticed here was Krillin's loss is really felt because GT harpens on the fact that they don't want to sit here and use the Dragon Balls over and over and over. In GT, they shy away from using them too much, but when they finally do bring them out again, that's when the Dragon Balls are cracked and we are entering the Shadow Dragon saga. So once this dragon appears, this dragon is extremely hostile, and the first thing he does is he absorbs all 7 Dragon Balls and he scatters them throughout the world. The other Kai warns them that these 7 dragons could wipe out the entire universe, and he starts to point the blame at Bulma because this is her fault in his eyes for creating the Dragon Radar. Bulma then says that it's not her fault, it's really Goku's, because if it wasn't for Goku, she wouldn't have been able to get the Dragon Balls in the first place. And this is where I have to stop the review dead. So Bulma, you're telling me that it's Goku's fault when 1, you created the radar, 2, Goku didn't even know about the whole legend of the Dragon Balls. You did, and Goku was perfectly fine living in the woods as a monkey boy eating fish. Nah, Bulma, I'm gonna call BS on that. That's your fault. This whole thing is all your fault. But then, you know, Goku being a true great character he is written to be in GT, he takes the blame and the responsibility for it, and he says, you know what, I'm gonna go make it right. And he goes off to get all 7 Dragon Balls. Pan tags along, but Trunks doesn't. And there's no explanation for that. I thought this show was about the 3 of them. all of a sudden at the end it's about Goku and Pan. Okay. So the first dragon they encounter is the 2-star dragon, Shenron. He pollutes the earth. He states that what brought him into existence was when Goku used the Dragon Balls to wish Upa's father back to life. Goku's wish to save a life gave birth to a dragon whose power is to poison and kill all life. Not bad, GT, not bad. They both defeat him with a Kamehameha and they get the Dragon Ball, and parts of the earth that are polluted are returned back to normal. So the next dragon they encounter is the 5-star dragon, Rage Shenron. So his gimmick is that he has the power of electricity, similar to that blob creature from the original Dragon Ball, and what happens to him is that once it starts to rain, water and electricity don't mix. So he ultimately ends up losing because the weather gets in the way and he falls down from his blob state. He tries one last trick, but Goku just blasts him away and then they get the Dragon Ball. And then they're on to the next one. It was the wish that was used to bring Goku back to life in the Saiyan saga that created Rage Shenron. The next dragon that they encounter is the 6-star dragon, Oceania Shenron, Princess Odo. I do like this one a lot. The wish that brought her into existence was the Pan wish from Oolong. I think it was the very first wish in Dragon Ball. As Goku and Pan fight her, they do use strategy to stop Oceania. It's a combination of a Kamehameha from both Goku and Pan take her down. It's nice to see Pan be more useful. Then they go on to the next dragon, the 7-star dragon, Natron Shenron. This dragon was born from the destruction of the city caused by Majin Vegeta, and when we first see him, he's trying to destroy a city. True to his character, I gotta say. Goku turns Super Saiyan 4 and calls himself
The Red Monkey, right?
Shout out to you, Dad. So the way that this dragon works is he can transfer himself from body to body, and he uses it in order to attack. So he ends up taking control of Pan's body, trying to use that against Goku, but the two of them outsmart him. Goku says he's about to annihilate him even though he's using Pan, but Goku's obviously bluffing and he does this to pull Pan out and save her. Then Goku blasts him, and this is how they retrieve the Dragon Ball. The next dragon that they encounter is actually the 4-star dragon, Nova Shenron. Now when he first appears, he's in like a reddish form, but throughout the course of the fight, he powers up to his true form, which is the golden form. One thing I noticed here was that he knocks out Pan early on in the fight because he doesn't want Pan to get hurt. It's just between him and Goku. This is the honorable dragon. While they're fighting, Ice Shenron shows up out of nowhere, who is Nova's brother, and he blindsides Goku. He even ends up freezing him and he's about to destroy him. He then tries to force Nova to kill Goku, and Nova is all about honor. He is the 4-star Dragon Ball. Nova was born when King Piccolo got his youth restored. Nova frees Goku from the ice, and once he does this, Ice Shenron is extremely pissed, and now they have to fight one-on-one. Goku says he's gonna beat him in 10 seconds. While all this is happening, Vegeta's trying to figure out how to turn Super Saiyan 4, and Bulma comes up with the idea of the Blood-Wave machine. Now, I'm gonna defend Vegeta here because I see a lot of people get on his case saying that he cheated in order to achieve this form. Let me explain this the best way that I can. The Blood-Wave machine simply creates Blood Waves, no different than what Vegeta did in the Saiyan saga. When he threw the ball up in the sky, it's no different than that. It's still him creating that energy. Vegeta says that how come he didn't turn into Super Saiyan 4 when Baby was in control of his body and he turned? And Vegeta thinks it's because maybe he was too weak. But I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's that Vegeta was too weak, because think about this. Goku needed Super Saiyan 4 to beat Baby, and Baby didn't even have that form. And again, Baby doesn't increase Vegeta's power that much. It's all Vegeta's power, because remember when Baby was on his own, he was extremely weak. I'm gonna take my guy's side here on this one. So Goku's about to beat this man down in about 7 seconds or so. And you know what happens? This guy really picks up Pan and starts to hide behind her like a coward, using her like a shield to protect himself. He takes advantage of this situation, and then he puts Pan in danger, allowing him to beat Goku down for a little bit. Once Pan is out of harm's way, Goku is about to annihilate this guy, and he does the basic coward tactic where he gets on his knees and he begs for forgiveness, but it's really just a ploy. And what he does is he gets up and he claws Goku's eyes out so Goku can't see. Goku punches this guy so hard he blows a hole through his gut and finishes him with the most beautiful dragon fist I've ever seen. They didn't say what wish made Ice Shenron, so we never really got to find that out. But afterwards, Nova's trying to heal Goku's eyes with some sacred water, and right when he's about to do this, Sin Shenron shows up and blasts him in the back. He actually kills Nova Shenron, and the water is destroyed so Goku can't see. They begin the fight, and Sin is at such a huge advantage in this battle because Goku's so tired from fighting all these other people. Sin ends up beating Goku down. After Goku gets thrashed, the team shows up and they give him their power, and this brings Goku to full power Super Saiyan 4 once again, and it turns the tide, and Sin is on the losing end of the stick. But then he absorbs the 7 Dragon Balls. Then the entire battle is swung in his favor once again. It seems like no matter what Goku and the team tries, they just keep losing, and it looks like it's all over for them. There's no hope left, and Goku decides, you know what? I gotta do this. I gotta go in there and try and blow myself up and take him with me. But right when he's about to blow himself up, Vegeta shows up, and you know what Vegeta's getting ready to do? Transform into the true form of Super Saiyan 4. Once Vegeta transforms, him and Goku power up, and Vegeta notices immediately they cannot win this fight unless they fuse, and that's exactly what they do. They become one, and they become Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the strongest character in all of Dragon Ball at that time. They fight Omega, and it gets to the point where Gogeta is about to obliterate him with the Big Bang Kamehameha. It's time to put him away, so they hit him the first time, but he somehow survives, and they say, you know what? Let's finish it off properly. They go for the second one, and right when they're about to end him, they defuse. After the defuse, the two of them continue to just get pummeled and beat down. And now it's looking like there's no way out of this. As the battle continues, Goku actually powers down to his base form. He is just out of it, completely weak at this point. Omega powers up his minus energy power ball, and he throws it at the earth, and Vegeta steps in the way and says, I'll take it. Dragon Ball is a story about Goku and his friends, not Vegeta and his friends. So Goku literally headbutts Vegeta out the way, says, no, this is my show, and takes the minus energy power ball head on, and it looks as though Goku's dead. Vegeta tries to step up and fight off Omega, but none of them can do it anymore. They're too weak at this point. So just when things are about to be over and done with, Goku is charging up the Universal Spirit Bomb, the most powerful Spirit Bomb that he's ever created, and he throws it at Omega. And this is enough to completely annihilate Omega. It took the help of everyone and the universe included to finally wipe out Omega Shenron. Just when things are over, Shenron magically appears without being summoned. Goku uses one last wish to restore everyone who was harmed, and he made everything right. Goku tells Vegeta that they are in his hands, meaning it's up to Vegeta to protect the Earth. He stops by to see all his friends before one last goodbye, and once that's done, Goku gets on Shenron, the Dragon Balls merge with him, and they take off, and that's the end of Goku's story. So if I'm going to be honest, we have to move on to the things that I really didn't like about GT. And the first thing that comes to mind is episodes 6 through 15, 30, and 31, I believe. Those episodes are just flat out boring. They're not interesting. They're not funny. They're not fun. And GT does this thing where they kind of just put in these bad episodes to like fill in the gaps for little situations. I don't even know if you call these filler episodes, but they're just overall not very good. And then they have these moments where Goku is like in a different reality altogether playing a board game, when the whole point of him going there was just to meet these two shapeshifters. They could have just had that. They push this board game and it's just so boring. That's the problem with these episodes. It's just boring. The other thing I didn't like, again, I already told you guys, Trunks just disappears at the end of the whole series. Why? I understand that it's Goku and Pan, it's family time, but why does Trunks just become absent all of a sudden? He was a big part of this whole trio. If it wasn't for Capsule Corp, they wouldn't have even gone from planet to planet. So why Trunks disappears makes no sense. I know some people do feel that Goku being a kid again is a big problem, and I can understand where they're coming from, but you have to look at it this way. Goku is a kid again. So he has every reason to be immature and childish and do foolish things, but yet Goku is mentally more mature than he's ever been. So in a kid's body, you have the mindset of an adult where Goku's more serious. He's taking things more serious. He's looking out for his friends. He's putting his life constantly on the line. How many times did Goku almost blow himself up to protect everybody in the world? I could see why people don't like him being a kid, but if you really think about it and pay attention, it's not that bad. The character arcs are a big thing in the story of GT. We have Trunks, Pan, and Goku. Trunks' character arc was about him leaving the office and experiencing his own life outside of it. And they pretty much cover that arc for Trunks immediately, because once the Black Star Dragon Balls come into play, what do? They leave Earth. Trunks' arc is about him exploring more, and that's exactly what he does. I do feel like Trunks' arc was okay, but again, him missing at the end of the series just makes no sense. Then we move on to the character of Pan. Pan, remember, doesn't want to be seen as a child, and I thought they did Pan's arc very, very well. Pan has so much character establishment throughout the series, but the one highlight is when she jumps in front of Baby to protect Goku, and she pours her heart out to him, explaining that, listen, the Saiyans have paid for everything that they've done. My family hasn't done anything to you. You can't do this. You can't kill my grandfather. That is not something that a child would do, and I thought Pan handled that very, very well. I thought Pan's arc was overall good. It did have some hiccups with her constantly arguing with Giru that got annoying, but overall they did a pretty good job with Pan. Then the next big arc that we have to cover is the character of Goku. Goku's arc is about him coming to terms with himself, and that's exactly what he does toward the end of the series. Goku throughout the entire series is protecting people, protecting his family, protecting his friends, constantly taking every situation serious, being one step ahead of everybody at all times. Again, Goku almost blew himself up several times to save everyone. It's like they took Goku from the Cell Saga and expanded upon him. Goku in the Cell Saga was probably the best version of Goku at the time, but I think GT Goku by far exceeds all variations of Goku. GT Goku is the best version of Goku, hands down. He's always willing to put his life on the line for the safety of others. And it comes to a close when at the end he decides that he can't stay on Earth anymore because there's so much going on that involves him. Throughout the entire series, Goku's constantly accepting the blame for situations. Even situations we might feel that he is not entirely responsible for, he accepts them through the whole series, and at the end, he leaves to bring peace to the Earth, and he tells Vegeta that he has to protect everyone now. Overall, Goku's character arc, fantastic. Now the next thing we really need to cover is how GT is the Goku show. Goku gets all the victories and nobody wins. So, Goku ends up beating Legic. He beats Baby by himself. He beats Natron Shenron by himself. And he also beats Ice Shenron by himself. So those are 4 people that he beat by himself. 2 of them are not even the main threat at the time. Now let's go back to Dragon Ball Z and see how many victories Goku gets by himself. He beats Nappa by himself. Jeice, Burter, and Raccoon. Then he goes on to beat Frieza at full power by himself in Super Saiyan form. And the next person he beats is Yakon. So let's get this correct. In Dragon Ball GT, Goku gets 4 solo victories, some of them not even main threats at the time. But in Dragon Ball Z, he gets 6, and you can argue that they were all main threats except for Yakon at the time. Again, if you're gonna say something stupid like GT Goku gets all the wins, back it up with some evidence, because now you just look stupid. Overall, I know a lot of you guys are thinking that GT is probably my favorite Dragon Ball series, and I think it's the best out of all of them, but really and truly, that's not the case. I still think Dragon Ball Z is superior to everything, but I will say this, GT is right behind it. I think GT is better than Dragon Ball Super, and its character arcs and character development is by far the best out of any of the series so far. I do think GT is a good series and it's very enjoyable and there's much to watch and there's much to see. And one thing I can say about GT over every other series, the ending for GT is truly sad versus every other ending in Dragon Ball history. So let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you guys agree. Do me a favor and share this video because I worked so hard on this and I wanted to get this up for you guys by Christmas. And these past few weeks I've just been struggling with a lot of personal stuff going on. So if you guys could do me the favor and share it, I greatly appreciate that. Let me know what you guys think about Dragon Ball GT overall down below. This has been the Dragon Ball GT Ultimate Critique. Happy holidays to you guys. Merry Christmas. And I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.